So this is a nice bridge from what Nora discussed. We're going to actually talk about how we've actually polluted ourselves off our planet. Sounds kind of crazy, but it's not the pollution you might think. You can actually take a big deep breath right now. Go ahead and do it. This pollution won't harm you. Won't at all. But we're going to take a step back, and actually we're going to take a step to 1 billion miles away, looking back from Saturn. You can see there that there's actually these little pinpricks, these dots. One of which, towards the bottom, is actually a little dot. That's Earth and its moon. Soak in the insignificance that you might feel right now. That insignificance is actually very humbling and is actually a worthwhile thing, and a lot of researchers and certainly people in my field of astronomy like to feel insignificant. Yeah, in case you didn't see the dot, there it is. Arrows are our favorite things in science. But this is light that's reflected. We're going to talk about light that we ourselves actually are contributing to emit. This is what Earth looks like at night. Notice the places where there's lots of light and where there isn't. You cannot really find a place far from any civilized place that doesn't have a massive contribution of light pollution. We see this every day. And the problem is, in modern society, we see this in a way that we can't even comprehend where we came from. Think of our ancestors a few thousand years ago and the sky they saw. You could even see right in there is Denver. Above it is Fort Collins. Below is Colorado Springs. You can even see the I-70 corridor to Grand Junction. A little bit of irony is that when you look from the International Space Station, this place here is known for being ancient. This is the Nile River. Wouldn't have guessed that, would you? But what causes all this? Well, really, it's predominantly streetlights. And what streetlights are doing is throwing up mass amounts of light up into the sky. And that is then scattering off the particulates in our atmosphere. Boulder actually has good light pollution laws. We're a dark city. But the light pollution from Denver disrupts that. So our neighbors are our problem. You can see the difference from inner city out to a place maybe 100 miles from city lights. And you get to appreciate what really, truly is going on there. As you can see, the different type of light sconces that are available to you. The very bad to the best. Actually, the best is to just turn your damn lights off. You can see the progression over time with light pollution. From 1950 to 2025. We have one person to blame here, Thomas Edison. This will make our friend Nikola Tesla happy. He's had a couple victories lately. But what we've done to pollute ourselves off our planet is not with visible light, but with a different kind of light, radio waves. And this is a particular interest when we try to understand the early universe and how the first stars and galaxies formed, and answering our most fundamental questions. How did our universe begin? And what is our place in it? These are actually scientific questions. They're also religious ones. But when we look back at a simplified image or picture of the universe, we want to understand, how did we get here today? We see a universe full of galaxies and structure and stars and planets and life, but it started from next to nothing. Interestingly enough, this area that we need to observe can only be seen in radio waves. You thought visible light pollution was bad. This is what the Earth looks like in radio waves, specifically 131 megahertz. So if you like listening to 93.3 or 106.7, yeah, you're contributing to the problem. But this pollution extends not just on Earth, but out into orbit. And there's one place nearby that we can go. We can go to the moon. Now, we've been there. But what we can do is, unfortunately, dispel what Pink Floyd told us. And the dark side of the moon doesn't exist. But what we can do is go to the far side of the moon. This is a place where the moon itself shields us from Earth's radio transmissions, where we are, in fact, in a place of tranquility. It is a pristine environment, devoid of radio emission. Here is where we get to answer our most fundamental questions and image the first galaxies and first stars. It's like seeing a baby and then seeing an adult, and then wondering, what did they look like as a kid or a teenager? Their most fundamental formative years. We've absolutely observed many of these craters near the south pole of the moon and found craters like this that are in permanent sunlight. You could put up solar panels and actually set up a nice environment. So what does this come down to? It comes to, you have some power here to help us observe and help us understand our fundamental questions. And I leave you with this. understanding and opening the door of our inadequacy is only by exploring the universe. Thank you.